everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Carla Coates, a leadership coach for people who look successful but feel stuck. With decades of leadership experience, Carla helps high-performing professionals navigate burnout, career transitions, and next chapter decisions with clarity and confidence. Her work focuses on boundaries, personal responsibilities, and intentional leadership, helping people move from autopilot to purpose. Carla, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's great to be here with you.
All right, so yeah, successful but stuck. What does successful but stuck actually look like?
Okay, great question. So, one of the things is that you know how you can lead with a smile on your face, and you know how you want more, but you're stuck in your head because you're not moving forward. It could be something as simple as I want to grow more in my leadership, or it could be, you know what? There's this particular degree that I want to get, but I'm still in my head. Or it could be
Mm.
simply, you know what? This is not the dream of my life to have this particular position. I want to open up my own business or I want to travel, but stuck simply means what it says. You're stuck mentally and you're not moving forward in your life.
Wow. Okay, stuck mentally and not moving forward. So in some cases, one could actually be in a good place physically, right? Let's say you have a good job, but mentally you feel like you're not where you want to be.
Yes, that's exactly it. And then with you having that good job, you could also have a sense of guilt. You know, I've got a
Mhm.
great job. A lot of people would want my job, but there's something else that I want, and I'm too scared to go after it
Mm.
because I've got this good job.
Wow. In cases like this, right? I feel like one could easily misunderstand it for like laziness or
Mhm.
misalignment. So how do
Yes.
you know the issue isn't laziness, but probably misalignment?
Okay. So one of the things is if you have a good job, and I mean, it's good, that's your definition. It could be anyone's definition, but it's
Mm.
your definition. Hey, I'm in a good job. I've achieved this. Most of the time, you're not a lazy person unless somebody gave you the good job and you didn't get it on your own. But if you
Mhm.
decided, you know what, I'm in this position, I have achieved a milestone in my life, I would say you're not you're not lazy. That's just my definition. And then the misalignment, you could have changed over time. You could be a different person, let's say from being 25, back when you were 15, you're a different person. Same thing, someone in their 30s, they could be 35, they're a far different person than they are when they're 25. So if you're 25 and you're saying, you know what, I'm misaligned only because I have achieved something and it's no longer my desire. I have other things that I want to achieve. So right now it is a misalignment based on my growth in life.
Mhm. I think I understand that one clearly and perfectly, actually. So, I want us to talk about burnout and boundaries, right? So,
Oh,
what role do boundaries play in burnout?
what role does burnout play in burnout? Because we don't know how to say no.
Oh.
I mean, we're raised to accommodate, and we should. If we're raised by parents, guardians, whomever, it could be a relative, grandparents. We're raised to always say, yes, I will follow your rules. And we also do that to have a sense that we want to please them. But as we become adults, we take that same mentality into the workforce. So yes, you want to be able to respect your, let's say, your boss, your manager, supervisor, team leader, whoever's over it, or even your friends. But you also have your new life to say, you know what, even though my best friend likes to, let's say, play soccer, I hate soccer, but my best friend wants to bring me along all the time. That's when you be able to set up your boundaries, and you know what, best friend, whoever it is, I don't like soccer. I don't want to go to a soccer game. I'd rather go to the movies. I'd rather sit home and read a book. I don't like, let's meet up some other place. And your best friend will most likely be upset. And but you still at the same time, you want to have that relationship where you could tell the truth. I don't want to go to the soccer game. Your best friend, or if it's a good friend, they will be able to understand and say, hey, where can we go that we can meet up and have fun together? That's setting your boundaries. That's just what it is. I have a best friend. She loves to stay home all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so boring to me. I need to be able to go out. It's a huge world. I need to go out. And she's like, Carla, I don't want to do that. I said, I want to go on a cruise. I'm not going on a cruise. I may fall in the water. How you gonna fall in the water? No. So she stays home. I go on a cruise somewhere. Same thing. It could be 3 hours away from my home. And I'll say, well, let's go there. But how long are we gonna stay? So she's setting up her boundaries to let me know there's only certain things I will do. My boundaries are wide when it comes to travel. So that's your first question. What was your second question?
All right. So I think you answered it actually.
Okay.
What
Okay.
role boundary plays in burnout? Because
Yes.
listening to what you said, right? If I keep on saying yes to what I initially want to say no to what I know I don't like, I'll
Mhm.
get tired.
Yeah.
It will be
Yes.
exhausting. So yes,
Yes.
I do understand what role boundary plays in
And
burnout.
and can I add a little bit more?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I was burnt out specifically at work because, well, two situations. Specific one was specifically at work because I kept saying yes, and I thought that I should stay all these extra hours, beyond. So I was supposed to work 8 hours a day. But I thought that, I'm a good employee. I should be able to work 9 hours, maybe 10 hours. And nobody told me this. I just heard other people doing it. So, I thought I should fall in line. I'm a good employee. And then I became so burnt out that I became sick. I had the flu was going around in that area. And usually the flu would last maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. This lasted for me because my body was so burnt out. It was so broken down. It lasted for 5 weeks. And it's because I kept going, kept going, kept going. And I didn't set up boundaries for myself to say, Carla, you need to take care of your body because who has the flu for 5 weeks? You need to take care of your body and you need to be able to say no to yourself. So that was one of my lessons that I had to learn to say no to myself. I had this get up and go. I got to go to work. I got to achieve this. I had to say no to myself in order to take care of my body because I was burnt out beyond belief. It was crazy. And then my supervisor at the time, she was like, Carla, I don't understand. What are you doing? What are you doing? So that didn't come from her that I had to work all those hours. She never said that. I just decided to shrug to, just to get in there and work hard, work hard. And I ended up really hurting myself over time because I didn't say no to me.
Listening to your story, right? I need you to walk us through how you started to build boundaries, right? Because
Mhm.
at a point you were just working, there was no boundary even for yourself. You were not setting rules for yourself. So how did you go through those process and how were you able to build boundaries so that the youths can, learn from how you were able to go out of that?
Sure. So one of the things was um, one of the managers in the organization asked my supervisor at the time, "Where is Carla?" And she said, "She's at home." And he said, "Why is she at home? She's sick. She's burnt out." And when I returned to work from being sick, she told me this. And I thought, that's the first time that I had really realized that I was burnt out because I heard somebody else say it. And you ever had this situation where you kind of look around like, this is really happening to me? And then I felt bad because I did it to myself. I wanted to please my managers. I wanted to please my supervisors. I wanted to be a good employee. And I just spent time thinking, this is not good for your life. Because while we're in our 20s, we think we're invincible. But my body said, no, you're not. So once I started to get better, I actually made a promise to myself that I would not do that again because it didn't benefit anyone. I mean, I still had family who depended on me. I still had my friends. And of course, the job, they depended on me to do my actual work. But unless I took care of myself, how was I going to help anyone? How was I going to help to perform my job well? How was I going to be able to help my family and my friends unless I took care of myself? It was a situation that it was so weird to be in. And it was kind of scary too, to be honest. It was scary because I'd never been in a situation that I couldn't remember that I just couldn't get over the flu. And it's because my body was worn down. But I had to learn to take care of myself. And you have to put some thought into it. When you're in your 20s, you're going, but you have to stop. And it's a challenge to do this, but people can do it. But I had to stop and I had to look at my life and had to think about, okay, what's important? And didn't realize that my body was important. If I wanted it to live beyond a certain age, having my own body, it was so, taking care of my own body, it was so important. But people don't normally tell you that when you're in your 20s. Hey, take care of your body. You get sick, you may be burnt out from your job, you may be burnt out from life, and you may be the cause of your own being burnt out. But you got to take care of yourself and just be able to say, no, I'm not gonna do that. I got to take care of myself. I got to slow down. Really, when I don't want to slow down. That was another thing. I didn't want to slow down. I was like, that's crazy. I'm not slowing down. But my body said, we're still sick. What are you going to do? And I thought, wow, I needed to slow down. I needed to say no to my ambitious self.
I like how you used ambitious self. You were really ambitious, actually. And that's actually impressive. It's just, once in a while, we need to actually slow down and, prioritize our health, right? So yeah,
Yes.
that's understandable. And, I wanted us to talk about career transitions and the next chapters, right? So how do you know when it's time for a new chapter, basically?
Sometimes you know, and sometimes you don't know. And I would start with sometimes you don't know because you could be in a position where, oh, I've really wanted this job and I'm in it. Even if you're in it for like 6 months and you're really enjoying it and you're excelling, and you really don't know that it's time for a transition unless it presents itself. So that's one aspect, is to always have a mindset to be open for new opportunities. You may have to say no, because I've said no to new things, new opportunities. But in the case that you know that, you know what, I need to move forward, I would say gain clarity. Is this really what I want? Because sometimes we can jump into things really fast and you get there and you say, this was a bad decision. But don't forgive yourself, because you're a human being. We're all going to make mistakes. Just learn from them, pick yourself up and move forward. That's one of the things I would always tell people. I don't care how old you are. Learn to forgive yourself for making some dumb, stupid mistakes. As long as it doesn't harm somebody else. But we are human beings. But I would say with the career transition, sometimes because you, even though you excel and you're doing wonderful, everyone says you're doing great. Um, it no longer engages you. If you find yourself, I'm no longer engaged. I'm just not in it anymore. I'm still doing well, but my heart of hearts, sometimes you just know I need to move on. And it's perfectly fine. If you need to transition your career from one step to the next, that's fine. And then even still, when you move forward, you're going to still have that heart that says, I think I want to go a little bit further, because you may have had a lasting dream, or you may have seen someone else in a position that's further, or you may own a business, or you may be on a farm and say, hey, I want to be able to own my own farm. Whatever it is, the world is open, and you may see something else down the road that, you know what, I think I can achieve. So to answer your question, sometimes you know about your career transitions, and sometimes you don't, because it's going to present itself to you. And then you're going to think, I think I'm going to go for that. I think I'm going to transition out of what I'm doing into this new area. Or I know I have steps that I need to take to get to that particular position. It may take a while, but at least I know now that it's presented to me that I can say, hey, I'm going for that. It may take 5 years, but I'm going to go for it. Sometimes you know, sometimes you don't.
Mhm. All right. So yeah, that sounds amazing. And this has been really, really insightful, actually, deeply insightful, especially for me. And I believe it's also insightful for my audience too. So, I want you to talk directly to my audience, right? Because they are young adults. So if someone in their 20s already feel burned out, what should we do? How do we avoid, repeating the mistakes we've made before? And what are the daily habits that, can prevent us from living in autopilot, basically?
Mm-hmm. Okay, one of the things I would say, you need to be able to talk to someone. You need to be able to get a mentor. You can get a mentor or a coach. And the age of in the 20s, I would say get a mentor, and then also be open to have multiple mentors. Because just like the two of us, we have two different personalities. So when you have a mentor, you may have two, you'll notice you'll receive different things from them. Both of them great, but because they have led a different lifestyle than the other one, you're able to grasp more. So get a mentor to help you, and a mentor that you can look up to, not to say you want to get a mentor and we're both the same age and we have the same background. We grew up in the same neighborhood. You're not going to get anything out of that person because you already know the outcome. The both of you are the same. Oh, you can't have your cousin as your mentor, but you can always have a mentor that will be able to show you the way, and you can look up to that mentor and you can ask questions. You got to be free when you have that mentor to be able to say, you know what, I got a crazy question. And then the mentor has to be able to keep your information to themselves and not broadcast your information. That's very important. It has to be a close relationship where you're not sharing the information, your mentor is not sharing, not calling up and saying, hey, guess what? I just talked to my mentee, and guess what we talked about? No, that person needs to be able to keep all your information to themselves. And then what was the second
Mhm.
question?
Daily habits that can,
Daily
prevent
habits.
us from
And so
autopilot.
you don't make mistakes.
Mm.
Journaling. Journaling is important because, and you could do it either way. You could either journal with, on your laptop, your phone, because they have apps for that, or you can just have the old fashioned way, get a pen, pencil, and write it down. But it's something when you take it from your mind and then you actually take it out of your body and this is what's going on. And when you journal, that should be a daily habit. When you journal, you need to be honest. Don't journal on who you think you are. Journal on who you actually are, what actually happened. You know what? my coworker said something stupid and I yelled at her yesterday. Why did I do that? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I should have never yelled at her. Why do I think that she said something stupid? You know what? That was none of my concern. I should have left her alone. That's the kind of things you should have in your journal. You should have it in your journal when you get mad at your when you get mad at your boss, your parent. You need to be able to write it down and then write it down or put it in your laptop. And then after you do that, read it back to yourself. You're going to be surprised that I actually wrote that. I was going through that. I forgot all about that. I can't believe it. And you're going to see yourself, because I've written things down in my journal. I thought, Carla, oh my gosh, I'm ashamed of you. but at the same time, you've gotten it out of your head, whether it's on a piece of paper or on your laptop, on your phone, what have you. Subconsciously, most of the time, you will not do that again because it's already out. And it's like I said, it's good to read, because that's going to do one thing. It's going to put in your mind in the future. So if your friend, your coworker says something dumb again, you remember that reaction, that, why did I yell at her? I'm not going to yell at her again. I'm going to let her be. And then who am I to judge if she says something dumb? She may have just been speaking from her heart. I'm going to let her be. She needs me to support her. Okay. But I'm not going to sit here and judge. And I'm not going to get mad at her or yell at her for no reason, because I remember my journal, I wrote that, and I was embarrassed, and nobody knew that I was embarrassed on how I conducted myself. So that's one of the things I think you should always have. Get a mentor or two. Nothing wrong with having two. And then also simply journal. I don't know what it does. It physically does something when you get those thoughts out of you. It physically releases something out of you. I can't explain it from a psychology point of view. I don't know, but journal. Get that stuff out of here, so you can learn and move forward.
Wow. Thank you so much for this. This has been deeply, deeply inspiring and educative also. And yeah, to my final segment of my podcast, I call it the rapid fire segment, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I say some words, you pick the one you prefer. And starting now, success or fulfillment?
Success or fulfillment? I would say fulfillment.
Discipline or alignment?
Discipline.
Okay. Boundaries or burnout?
Boundaries.
I knew it was going to be boundaries. Yeah, autopilot or intention?
Intention.
Okay, and finally, responsibility or blame? So, yes.
Oh, responsibility. Yeah, you gotta own it. You gotta own it.
All right. Yeah, I've got to own it actually. And yes, this has been amazing. And where can my listeners get to know more about you and what you do?
Okay, so they can reach out to me actually on my website. So it's Carla. Well, my website is just simply Coates Consulting Group.info. So it's COATES Consulting Group.info.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Carla. This has been amazing. And to my listeners, thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, make sure to share to someone who you think might need this. And also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Thank you, Carla. This has been amazing. And do have a wonderful day.
Oh, thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.